and welcome to Collaboration in Tomorrow's World. This is the first in a four-part webinar series entitled The Future is Coming into View. I'm Andrew Corbett, and I'm the head of our Medical Support Division here at Mercury IT. So the last few months have seen some pretty interesting changes across pretty much the world, and the way that corporations work as a whole. So what we've seen is we've gone from a scenario where collaborative tools were previously used to deliver extending of services into the field or into mobile devices, or so changing the way we work to extend out that workplace. Also to allow for some flexible work hours, and also to assist distributed teams in obviously working functionally and delivering their goals. Now, over the past few months with the current environment, we've seen a really big shift. So obviously a lot of organizations have had to adopt using collaborative tools just to function normally, with people working from home being almost mandatory and teams quite often being distributed or more flexible in how they operate. Now, whether this is going to be a permanent change or whether this is something that we'll see kind of goes away, I guess we'll probably just have to wait and see. But from a standpoint of the collaborative tools that we've been using, it's an opportunity to take what we've learned and maybe move it into the future. So with that in mind, some of the kind of challenges that we've faced in the last few months and that these collaborative tools have helped us with is communication is the big one. So communication forms the core around collaboration effectively. So being able to message each other, converse with each other, video chat, meetings, teleconferences, all that kind of stuff. That's really the core of being able to work effectively in these sorts of scenarios. But in addition to that, you've also got all these other collaborative tools, and tasks rather, things like the ability to do staff training and the tracking of tasks, all sorts of things. So the last few months has certainly posed some pretty unique challenges for being able to continue to deliver that. So as most of you have probably already been introduced to Teams, particularly over the last few months, because we have seen such a massive adoption in it, it kind of I didn't really want to just take Teams and show you some spec sheets and features and run over why you should be using it, because the chances are you already are. Instead, what I wanted to do was do a bit of a scenario to maybe introduce you to some new products that are part of the Microsoft stack that maybe you aren't aware of, or maybe just helping you think outside the box a little on how you can use what you have available to you a little bit differently. So the scenario that I have created for this particular demonstration was I have a team that needs to be demonstrated a new product. In this case, it's a sales team, and the product needs to be demonstrated to them so that they know its capabilities and they're familiar with it prior to them being able to roll it out. So challenges. Obviously, the way I would have done this previously is I would have just grabbed, let's say the team has 20 people. We could have all jumped into a big boardroom and demonstrated the product. They could have held it, looked at it. We could have run through how it worked. They could have familiarized themselves so that they're all ready to roll it out as soon as we decide it's ready. Now, obviously that's something we can't do with the way that people are working now, and whether that extends into the future will be interesting. So what are the challenges with the current team of 20 trying to jump in and all look at this? We have an issue with availability. So with people working from home so extensively and in scenarios where maybe they're even in different time zones, we do have to account for the fact that a lot of people are working more flexibly. Also, at the moment, it also includes things like there's an interesting work-life balance. You know, people have potentially they might be doing homeschooling with their children at the same time because there is all that enforced kind of situation where everyone's at home, or it might mean that they just keep unusual hours, or Who knows? There's all sorts of options there that could impact the ability to deliver this effectively. And then you've got just the challenge of organizing it. So with everyone being one step removed from the communication structure, there's a little bit more delay and difficulty in trying to corral a herd of cats effectively into the one meeting. It can be a real challenge, and it comes with overheads. So it is a real task to go and get that many people organized. And of course, scheduling is a big problem. So when you do have a team that's distributed, they might have flexible hours, all that sort of stuff. Getting them in one place and finding when they're all available can be a real problem. I mean, I could go through 20 different people's calendars and figure out how it fits, but that's kind of a nightmare all of its own. And then again, because you've got that half step removed from communication and it's not quite so easy anymore, it does mean that sometimes you do have those last minute delays or changes to people's plans or things that come up that you can't really account for so well. So we might even have a problem with attendance. So in this particular scenario, how can we use what we have to approach the problem a little bit differently? And in this particular case, I'm going to try and focus on using some tools that we already have or that are quite often included, and you probably have if you already have Teams. And that's Microsoft Sway, Microsoft Stream, and then kind of, because they're integrated, how they all work together with Microsoft Teams, which is, again, it's kind of the core of our collaborative experience with Microsoft. So to start the problem, what I would do is I would open up Microsoft Sway and take all my information and put it into a bit of a spreadsheet. So what is Microsoft Sway? Microsoft Sway is effectively a cloud tool for creating presentations. So very, very similar to PowerPoint. Now, unlike PowerPoint, it is a lot more lightweight and it's a lot more user-friendly. So it's not quite as capable, but it is much quicker and much easier. So it's something that you can certainly throw together. But there's also a few really key differences. So Microsoft Sway gives you this ability to, I guess, distribute more easily in a scenario where you do have people who are not all working in one place. And that's because it's principally web driven. So essentially when you publish your Sway, as they're called, it's presented as a website, which is obviously accessible outside the company and is based on your 365 login. Now, the other thing that's slightly different between Sway and PowerPoint is where PowerPoint really is the master of setting you up and doing presentations where they have like a presenter. Sway is far more flexible in that it's designed so that you can have the user themselves drive the experience. So it includes things like audio, video, or it can do, and interactive elements as well. So while they are similar and they have a similar function, they do kind of have a different need that they're meeting, and they have slightly different capabilities. So in this particular scenario, what I've done is I've taken all my spec sheets and all that information that I had on my product, and I've dropped it into the slides in Microsoft Sway. So I've just created a new Sway, and it presents pretty much like this, where I have just slides and I can drop information in very, very easily. So I've taken those spec sheets and that information that I want to present, and I've dropped that in there, and I've made a very simple presentation that I can include. And then now I could have also included embedded video in there as well, because I don't just want some slides. So for this particular thing, I'm trying to demonstrate a product. So it's a much more hands-on experience, and I really want to be able to show people it used. I mean, they're not going to have the opportunity to touch one like they might have before, but at least if I can demonstrate it for them, they'll have the ability to kind of see and understand a bit better. So rather than just distributing my Sway directly as a published website, instead I'm going to save it as a website, but then I'm going to use Microsoft Stream to finish the piece, and together with Microsoft Teams. So instead what I've done is I've taken Teams, I've created a meeting just for myself. So you can do that just by going to your calendar and going Meet Now. And then once that's started running, I've hit record, and then I've shared my screen for my Sway, which is obviously published as a website. So once I've got that, I can then work through my slides. And I can also switch between just by stopping sharing the video feed, so I can do my demonstrations of my product, and also my space, so I can show the information about the product, so the spec sheet and all that sort of stuff. So once I've got that, I then end the meeting, and the video that I've recorded effectively is all automatically uploaded to Microsoft Stream. So this is a really cool tool, not just for what I'm doing here, but you've probably already thought ahead a little bit, and you can use it for meeting minutes, you can use it for pretty much everything. So if these are being automatically uploaded to Stream, I guess the next question is, what is Microsoft Stream? So Stream is a cloud tool for sharing video. So if you're thinking YouTube for the corporate environment, you're pretty close. It's effectively the option to present video in a really easy, user-friendly manner, but unlike YouTube, where it's all designed for the public domain and it's on display, you kind of have this option where it's secured and integrated with Teams, like I mentioned, so that you've got like a full permission capability. And built into that as well, the ability to share. So in the case of minutes, that means that it's automatically shared with the people who were part of the meeting, but it also means that you can add people. And whether that's the ability to share further, or you want to just give them permission to view it, or all that's built in, and it's pretty much just clicking through your options. And there's also obviously the ability to trim down your videos and stuff like that, which is really handy so that no one has to watch your setup and wrap up. Now, once we've got all of that put together and it's been uploaded into Stream, like this one here, you can then share it out among your corporation. So this is pretty interesting from a standpoint of what we were trying to achieve. So if we recap, rather than having a meeting where we've had a lot of challenges in getting everyone together so that they can all watch a teleconference effectively, we've given an option that has some flexible availability because it's effectively a video and it's on a shared platform. So it's available pretty much everywhere worldwide, but it's still restricted. So it's not necessarily something that the rest of the world can see, particularly if the product is an internal one and you want it to remain private. It's easy to use. So we've got this awesome tool with Stream where it is as easy to use as YouTube. You can either log into Stream and just click through effectively a feed of videos, or it can be a matter of you receive an email telling you that it's available. You click a button, and if you're logged into the O365, you can just watch it. Now, it's also really convenient, obviously. So particularly if you've got a team who's distributed, or they are keeping different hours, or they're even in different time zones, then it's obviously available whenever they want it, or they can rewatch it and review it, all that stuff. So you actually gained value there as well. And in addition, because it is an ongoing video that you can add to and you've got more of them, you've started building an online knowledge repository. So if you do have another team member join the sales team and you want to be able to have them see that product and see the demonstration, you don't have to go back and hold the same function again and again. The tool's already there available for you. All you need to do is share it to them. So the activity we've gone through today is essentially, or the scenario I should say, is essentially designed to maybe introduce you particularly around Microsoft Sway and Microsoft Stream, but also just to make you think a little bit about how you're delivering what you're doing. It's very easy to just use Teams as a one-size-fits-all. And in a lot of cases, that's true. But in this particular case, and in some scenarios, you do have these tools available to you, and maybe thinking a little bit outside the box will give you the opportunity to do something a little bit different and maybe a little bit better for the way that we're working now and the way we may be working in the future. Thank you all for attending. Hopefully you'll join us at our next webinar next week at the same time. And if you do have any questions, or you'd like a demo, or if you'd like us to put together a proposal or anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to have a chat to you. Thanks very much for your time.